I hope I'm audible. Thank you. Thank you, Waziri Ezekiel Machogu, the Minister for Education, the members of Parliament who are here today, Vice Chair of the Education Committee, and Mr. Malulu Njedi, and also Omboko Milemba, who is on the speakers panel, the Chairman of Teacher Service Commission and the commissioners present, the CEO, the Secretary General, the Solicitor General, my friend Mose, key stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you why I've used the word key stakeholders, and I've taken a shortcut there. In my speech, and you know when you're coming in front of teachers, you have to write so that you don't make a mistake. I realized I was going to make about 27 salutations of various stakeholders who are here. Now, that will take about 5 minutes. But luckily they had been introduced earlier by the previous speakers. But there's some satisfaction there. When you see so many stakeholders being acknowledged and noted in the speeches, it means that there was extensive consultation in the preparation of your strategic plan. That is very gratifying. So let me make my remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular pleasure to join you during this launch of the Strategic Plan 2023-2027. Yours is perhaps one of the first few strategic plans that have emerged under the Kenya Kwanza administration. You therefore deserve a pat on the back for this starring effort. Your achievement should spur other government institutions into action on this. It is also a great honor that I represent the President, Dr. William Ruto, at this auspicious occasion. He was supposed to be here with you, but he traveled. So I have the honor to represent him. The importance of strategic planning cannot be overemphasized. It is a deliberate organizational process that defines intended actions within a specified period. A strategic plan prioritizes activity, effectively allocates resources, and aligns stakeholders and employees to the organization's goals. In fact, a strategic plan helps in differentiation of organizations, especially those in the same sector. Furthermore, gone are the days when strategic plans were viewed as mere accounting documents. They are now a measure of performance, efficiency, and effectiveness that must be taken seriously. The strength of a strategic plan lies in the agility to adjust and respond appropriately to emerging phenomena, both anticipated and opportunistic. Indeed, government entities ought to know that in the next round of performance contracting review, strategic plans will be key measurement and grading instruments. So don't store your strategic plan thinking that its publication is the main goal. The Teacher Service Commission is an independent entity tasked with managing key components of our education system. the teachers and the professional standards of basic education. The offshoot of this wide mandate is that the Teacher Service Commission oversees training of persons entering the teaching profession, maintenance of professional standards, the demand and the supply of teachers, and advises government on matters relating to the teaching profession. Any measure of the Teacher Service Commission must stand or fall on these key tenets. Education is the ultimate equalizer. This is a realization that has governed our education system since independence. At that time, we inherited a very unequal education system, and every government since then has strived to creating an equitable society through the hanging fruit called education. Through education as an enabler, we want to guarantee that every child has an opportunity to exploit and achieve their fullest potential irrespective of their social background. This is the common denominator that must guide all institutions charged with the delivery of education. Every one of us within the education system must always be aware that whenever we stagger at any stage within the system as institutions and individuals, we disorganize, disorient, distort, and put in jeopardy innocent lives. I am addressing myself to the Teacher Service Commission as I do to teachers and parents associations, students, and those whose business is education. I am a strong believer that where there are misunderstandings, the power of reason must prevail. As you guard your personal interest, always know that there is an even greater civil interest that you owe society. Surely, disrupting the education of innocence when you could talk through an issue cannot be the reason for your existence. In other words, between education stakeholders, there should never be a moment when we refuse to talk with each other. I am cognizant that there have been differences of opinion between TSC, teachers, and parents over whether indeed there has been effective teacher orientation on competency-based curriculum and the quantity of teachers required for its effective implementation. I am also aware of a differing opinion from private sector owners of schools over the same implementation of CBC. Separately, the Teacher Service Commission has issues with the parent ministry on whom should appoint school heads. Pending the report of the task force on CBC, nothing stops us from talking with each other and feeding the task force with consensus position ideas. Indeed, I firmly believe that if you choose to criticize, do so while offering an alternative. And I repeat, I firmly believe that if you choose to criticize, do so while offering an alternative. Don't condemn. Have the candor to offer solutions. And so, our journey to ensure inclusivity and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all remains the focus of government. We do this for ourselves, but also as a part of internationalizing our education outputs under the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, especially SDG 4. The government has integrated these education aspirations in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, better, 5 critical sectors. 1, agricultural transformation, micro, small, and medium enterprises, housing and settlements, healthcare, and the digital superhighway and creative industry. We all agree that education is a critical enabler in providing the skills required in achieving the aspirations of this agenda. All education stakeholders should hereafter align themselves with these aspirations and commitment to spur increased efficiency in economic productivity. Ladies and gentlemen, I am informed that the Teacher Service Commission 2019-2023 strategic plan, which was retired on Friday, June 30th, 2023, had 3 main focus areas. 1, teacher competence, conduct, and performance management. 2, reforms and innovations in the provision of teaching services. And 3, service delivery reengineering. Given lingering public perceptions to the contrary, one thing I hope the current strategic plan addresses itself to is the extent the Teacher Service Commission should be successful in capacity building and retooling of teachers to implement CBC and automation of processes for efficiency. Of significance is whether recruitment of additional teachers has facilitated the 100% transition and reduction of the teacher shortage. Then there is the nibbling issue of delocalization, teacher deployment. I point out these issues because I'm aware of competing stakeholder interests that suggest otherwise. If this be the case, how does TSC propose to overcome these handicaps over the harsh environment on financial resources? I, of course, note that you require a further 134 billion Kenya shillings to implement the plan over a 5-year period. Meanwhile, it is also refreshing that the current strategic plan aligns the TSC to international and national development agenda, specifically the Vision 2030 and bottom-up economic transformational agenda, better. You have suggested to bridge the existing teacher shortage gap in the next 5 years by recruiting 111,870 teachers and equitably distributing them to public basic learning schools. I would suggest that since Kenya Vision 2030 lapses in 7 years' time, we should be thinking of Vision 2060, when Kenya turns 100 years. What, for instance, do we project to be an education system in a world that will be, in all probability, governed by robotics in every sphere of life? In the circumstances, I am impressed that the Commission will continue to retool teachers on competency-based curriculum and competency-based assessment to improve curriculum delivery at education institutions, and will also implement appropriate programs for continuous professional development of teachers. We must never tire in constantly re-engineering our teachers to perform better. In this regard, TSC should formulate a healthy stakeholder engagement and collaboration with relevant partners. Finally, you have my word that the government is committed to support the Commission to achieve its mandate and improve our education system and its products. Further, in improving curriculum implementation, the government will escalate the paid national internship program for all students graduating from teachers, technical and medical colleges and universities in collaboration with industry players. It is therefore my singular honor to launch the Teacher Service Commission 2023-27 strategic plan. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Mr. Minister, with your permission, just 2 points, which I think I should echo. One, the Minister spoke elaborately on the issue of climate change. This is a very topical issue, a matter of grave concern. The President of the Republic of Kenya is at the forefront in raising issues and proposing collaborative efforts to tackle climate change. We cannot succeed without the footprint of the education fraternity. We cannot. The Minister has stated it very categorically. We need your help. We need your active engagement. We need your footprint in this space so that the 15 billion trees that we target in the next 10 years can become a reality. It may sound like some mirage, but I can tell you it can be achieved. If every Kenyan was to plant 300 trees every year for the next 10 years, we will have 15 billion trees by 2032. If you break it down further, every Kenyan would be required to plant only 10 trees per month. I can see very agile people in here. Planting 10 trees per month cannot be a challenge to us. We can manage to do that. But there is also something that needs to come out a little more. In the 15 billion trees, the target is to have about 5, that is a third of those trees, as fruit trees, as trees that will generate some economic benefit to the individual planters. You can imagine what we can do in transforming this country with fruits, whether it is avocado trees. By the way, even tea is a tree. Coffee is a tree. You remember many years ago, the late President Moi said, let me start the Nyayo tea zones. You know, people chided him and made it look like a joke. I can tell you for free now that amongst the state corporations that are today not dependent on the exchequer is actually the Nyayo tea zones. Because the belt that was planted around the forests is now earning this country foreign exchange, while at the same time safeguarding forests. So it is possible that we can change and transform this country if we work together. The second issue I just want to highlight is that very soon I'll be coming to you as the Teacher Service Commission and the teaching fraternity. You touched a little bit on the 260 teachers that were outstanding, and within your own mechanism, you recognize their efforts through the rewards as provided for within your framework. When President Kibaki started performance contracting in this country, Kenya became recognized worldwide, including from the highest entity, that is the United Nations, as a nation that had done an outstanding job in improving public service delivery globally. We became a beacon. People started benchmarking from us, including, surprisingly, even a superpower like the United States. They came here and benchmarked on what Kenya was doing in terms of performance contracting. And they went a step further. And about 2 years ago, the United States produced a bill, a law, an act of parliament that now helps entrench performance management in their public service. Yet we were the ones who started this program. So when I say I'm coming to you, I'm going to come to you because we want to correct this position so that we as Kenya can also have a legal framework, not a gazette notice driving performance management, but a legal anchor so that we can make sure that performance management in our entire public service is buttressed by law. And you as key stakeholders, I want you to participate in enriching this piece of legislation so that when it eventually goes to the members of parliament, your input will be part of it, and that way we shall be ready to make it clear to the people who employ us that we are not doing them a favor, but we have a service to deliver so that everybody knows it is a legal obligation when you hold public office. It is a legal obligation for you to deliver services to the people of Kenya. It's not optional. I would like the education sector to become a major forex earner for this country. You have the potential to become a major forex earner for this country. Many years ago, everybody was coming here for education. We reached a stage, now our people were going away. But when you go there, naturally the fees is not paid in Kenya shillings, it's paid in hard currency. So now, let us start reversing that. I'm telling you, we need foreign exchange in this country. And let's see how working together, education as a sector can become a fundamental forex earner for the Republic of Kenya. And that speaks to your motivating statement there. Ethical and globally what? Motivated, ethical, and globally competitive. So if you are globally competitive, tunataka muingize madola hapa Kenya. that I think is important. Finally, I have a soft heart for you. My father was a teacher. I was looking at Stima talking, and then I started asking myself, is this the brother to Stima or what? I've since learned he's the son. And true to form, when they say that he's a chip of the old block, it is a reality. But what is interesting is that in 2010, the 2010 Constitution, I don't like blowing my own trumpet, but sometimes they say if you don't blow it, we'll blow it for you. I stand here feeling very happy that the Teacher Service Commission is actually embedded in the Constitution. You have a permanent place in the Constitution. And I speak knowing that I was one of those people who stood firmly, including the President of the Republic of Kenya today and others, in Naivasha, in that very hot debate, where we put our foot down and we said, for us to have consistency and a clear direction in our educational journey as a nation, there are certain things that must be clearly embedded in our Constitution. And that is how I can stand here saying, I was once your advocate to make sure that you land in the Constitution. I have no regrets whatsoever, and I believe that it was the right decision that Kenyans made. God bless you all. Long live the Teacher Service Commission, and may you continue to guide the future of our nation. Asanteni sana.